When you admire someone for that sustained change you see in their lives, or the deep relationship they have with themselves, understand that they realize the full cost of self-deception. They tried half-truths, did not work. Blaming other people did not work. Shortcuts, it did not work. And the only thing that worked, they realized, is full exposure. Full exposure to the truth, full exposure to honesty, full exposure to the reality that was sitting right in their faces. They could not deny whatever damage that they had caused in their lives. It did not matter what other people's actions caused them to feel, caused them to do. They realized that they have a choice. They had a choice. They did not make, particular decisions. They forced laughter when laughter was not needed, forced community when community was not needed. They deliberately placed themselves, they realized, in situations that did not favor them. And what I know is a particularly dicey thing for people is talking about their trauma, their past, what their parents did to them. And as legitimate that is, it does not give you any solution. It keeps you stuck in pain. And that is something that I relate with so deeply. Because all I talked about to people was what my mom did, was how she hurt me, how I was abused, how my childhood was just a wreck, and that influenced my actions. I claimed that I was indifferent, but in her presence, the energy, the charge was intense. I still carried that pain. I was still focused on that pain. Why? It was here. I was living it every single day. People who truly have had enough, they stop blaming everybody. They stop blaming their upbringing. They stop talking about everybody else other than themselves. And it's very difficult because genuinely, if your upbringing was bad, then you did learn dysfunction. True. But then, if we are going to do something about the situation you're stuck in, you are going to talk about how you've continued that practice, how you've continued that tradition of dysfunction. So, I really need you to realize that that story has to end. You have to run the full course of that story. When you blame other people, when you talk about the past, you're deceiving yourself that you're doing something, and you're not actually doing anything. What solutions do you give yourself when you talk about the past? What solutions do you give yourself when you're blaming other people? Does it inform your choices now? Does it tell you how you're supposed to move now? Does it address how you've behaved yourself? It does not do a thing. You must stay in the present. What am I doing now? What am I thinking about now? How are my actions reflecting on what I think about myself and the world and other people in general? That is your solution. That tells you who you are. That tells you who you are. That tells you what your future is going to be like the longer you keep focusing on irrelevant things. Energy flows where attention goes. That is how you save yourself. That is how you save your life. I couldn't have transformed myself if you see, what I noticed is that I was just living in the past, yet I was in the present. My pain was being communicated via my actions. Claiming that I don't feel a thing, yet when I'm around someone, I am just annoyed. You can see it in my face, you can see it in my attitude, how I'm talking to the person. But once you fully release that pain and understand that it does not serve you, you don't even think about how you're supposed to act to demonstrate indifference. It just isn't there. There's no charge. You're not thinking how to act. You just are. And that is the biggest gift you can ever give yourself, being, truly. So this is why I work with people who really have experienced that deception. They have deceived themselves to the point where they know, I cannot run away from my truth, that I am hurt and I'm in pain, and I need to figure out now how I'm going to help myself out of it. So if that is you, go into the description, find the resources that I've created, whichever works best for you. Use it, empower yourself, save yourself, and I will see you again next time, friends. Bye, Z's.